come. Shakey interview, take one. What is your full name and alias?
My name is Marcus Rodriguez, better known as Shakey. My mother's the only one that calls me Marcus nowadays. I'm known as Shakey in basketball circles.
Why the nickname Shakey?
I got that as a young high school player here at Miami High School. So you know how kids are, they go, hey, you, pass me the ball. They're not gonna introduce themselves, what's your name? And I couldn't sit still, I was always moving around. And the next time I'm bringing the ball down the court, first guy running down said, Shakey, Shakey, Shakey. And the next thing I knew, everybody referred to me as Shakey.
I met Shakey in the Miami High gym, probably in 1968. Even then, Shakey was passionate about basketball.
I could play a little bit, but I realized that I'm not going to play in the NBA, but I love the sport, and I got involved with the coaching end of it, even while I was playing, and, you know, it was an innocent thing. It wasn't something that I cared to, you know, I just did it because I enjoyed it. I love working with people and working with young people, and that became a passion. And somewhere in college, I said, you know what, I'd love to coach. I didn't grow up through my college years and my early adult years. It wasn't my dream to coach the Boston Celtics or the University of Miami basketball team. My dream was to coach Miami High.
Before Shakey, Dade County basketball was good. The Southern teams would play each other, and the 2 or 3 top teams would win their 20 games, and everybody would talk about them. And the Northern teams would do the same thing, and Dade County would not win a state championship. Shakey comes in, and from day one, he says, I'm gonna win big here, and he changed the face of it.
To accentuate this story, I was keeping the scorebook at games. I had just graduated from college, and I was sitting there having with him at Rancho Luna, and I remember like it was yesterday. And I told him, if I ever get a chance to be the head coach, I'm gonna revolutionize basketball in South Florida.
When I took over the program, it was Jackson this and Jackson that. I was never asked, can Miami High win a state title, Shakey? It was always, can you beat Jackson?
All people talked about when I took the job, everybody, it was like a dream of this community. We want to go to Lakeland. It was a far-fetched dream because we always got throttled in the district finals by Jackson. So when I took over the program, Shakey, can you beat Jackson? Can you beat Jackson? So I said, I'm not only going to beat Jackson, we're going to win a state championship.
Shakey was a coach, he was demanding, you know. You got to give 110% for Shakey, because now you'll be in the doghouse. He was excellent, intelligent. He was a 100% practice coach too. The way you practice, that's the way you play.
I mean, this was my community. My friends were all passionate about Miami High basketball. This was a dream not only of mine, but of a lot of my friends around me. We basically fed into the program. My first 2 assistants were my high school teammates, Tiger and Tuna. You know, that was a dream come true to so many people, so many of my personal friends who had played with me and they were friends of mine. I had a ton of friends. I went to Miami High, and most of these people kept coming back to games. And then they saw one of their own become the coach. So I took the job running. We were 22-0 at one time. When we started out 10th in the city. By the time we got, by the 22nd game of the year, we were ranked in the country. #1 in the state, ranked in the country.
Yeah, so coaching at Miami High, for me, you know, having a chance to go back to my alma mater, to be with my high school coach, who was like a father figure to me, Shakey. Being back there, it was like going back home again, you know, so to speak, even though it was home. Frank Martin was coaching the JV team. Me and a guy named Artie Cabrera started the same year, and we became best friends.
You know, I would say, you know, Anthony was the #1 varsity assistant. You know, I was probably the #2 varsity guy. You know, I would always take care of the guards. That was my job. You know, did it for 10 years.
I'd taken a job at Ocean Bank, which had just started. It was in a trailer. And, you know, he said, if you're not going to go back to school, then come around and help us with the young guys in the neighborhood.
He was the head junior varsity basketball coach. I mean, I appointed him there at the age of 20. I think he was 20 years old. So for the next, 9, 10 years, he was my head JV coach and an assistant varsity. And like I said, I always knew that the kids, when they got to me, were okay. Because if they got through Frank, I know they would be okay. They were ready to be coached at the varsity level.
What would you say was Frank's best quality?
He had great passion for basketball. And Shakey was very, very a guy that had a small staff, but included his staff and everything. So Frank got a crash course in how to run a program.
You know, people say I'm intense. That's kind of what I saw when I first stepped foot on campus at Miami High. And
Shakey, to me, was the one that got Miami High going. I mean, kind of a mafia figure, the godfather. Shakey dressed different. He had his own style. You know, I never knew his name was Marcus. You know, to me, it was Shakey.
Coach Shake had a tremendous presence. He really didn't put up with a lot. You know, we work hard around here. You know, no shortcuts.
Shakey demanded perfection. And in our hearts and mind, we were the best of the best.
Shakey was, when I got there, he was a legend. So every time he talked, it was almost like it was God speaking.
You know, and they saw a dream that I had, and they shared it with me. And that's what made this place this special for me, because it wasn't just me. It was just a bunch of us young kids, crazy young kids who were passionate about what we're doing.
Well, I can go back to the 86, 87 era when Coach Rodriguez was just getting going. I was coaching at Cleveland State at the time. I came down, I was recruiting a kid at Hallandale High School. They had a heck of a team. I think they won the 3A state championship. So I said, you guys the best team down here? They said, oh, no. They said, that's Miami High.
The Stingarees, at this moment 13-0, are like most good teams. They've developed an on-court understanding of each other's styles. That leads to a cohesive effort.
This team has developed a chemistry of its own. The kids understand what it takes to win. I think they like the idea of being rated high.
As many times as you play with each other, the better we're going to get, and no one's going to try to hog it, you know.
When I went to Miami High, it was a blessing in disguise to get a coach like Shakey, too, and understood what kind of individual he was getting. I was known as a scrapper fighter.
Jose Ramos was the kind of player that, hey, listen, the game's on the line, give me the ball.
You know, talking to Ramos and Portillo, they were men among boys.
Did he say something about the big guy? Ah, yes. 6'9" junior center Cesar Portillo. 2 years ago, he came to Miami from Venezuela, a child in a man's body. His knowledge of the game limited.
When Cesar Portillo came in, everybody thought he was too old and all. Heck, I wasn't there when he was born.
You're going to ask me the question, was he too old? I'll tell you the answer. The FHSAA made us send them at random. This is how the FHSAA got around. We randomly check birth certificates, and we're asking for the birth certificates of 4 of your athletes. It just so happens that one of the athletes was Cesar Portillo, and we had to send them the original. They would not take a copy, original birth certificate. And they approved it and said he was fine to play.
Talent is not a problem here. The Stings have talent to burn. Rodriguez has 3 of the top-rated underclassmen in the state of Florida. But raw talent doesn't always equal championships, and Miami High would like their equation to read a little differently.
Shakey did a good job of finding the right pieces, and then he had guys like Doug Edwards that could score the ball.
Now, if anybody know anything about basketball, everybody know who Doug Edwards is. He's the god in the hood, really. Just some of the things he did on the basketball court were unbelievable sometimes.
Doug is 6'9", the skill set he had, the competitive fire that he had in him. You hadn't really seen anything like that.
Wow. I teach TV production, and part of that entailed doing the highlight videos for the teams. And I can remember looking at video of Doug Edwards and seeing him do things that I could go back and forth. It was, how could a human being do what he did?
It was fun for me. Planning, that came easy. I was just excited to travel and bond with all my teammates.
Doug was a sophomore, so we're going to be pretty hard to beat. I mean, we were ranked like in the top 3 in the country going into the following year. So we fully expected to win. Some people got in the way of it.
High school battle between #1 ranked Hialeah Miami Lakes and #3 Miami High. That is Chris Corciani. He had 4 fouls at half, held him down tonight. He only had 12 points. Another great guard, Jose Ramos, brings it up, takes the jumper. Shot is good.
You know, we lost to Miami Lakes with Chris Corciani, and who to this day was the single toughest opponent. Not the best player, but the single toughest opponent, because his dad, who's a great coach, he built that program almost around him, so he was so hard to stop.
They had that great rivalry with Hialeah Miami Lakes, with the Corciani family, the father of the coach, and the son who played at NC State, was a terrific player. And of course, those games were legendary.
You know, it was just the hatred. You know, we didn't like them, they didn't like us. What people don't know is that we used to play together in the summer times. In the summertime, we would play together. But man, when we used to square off regular season, You know, I had a broken toe one game, and first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, Jose Ramos just kind of steps right on my toe, looks at me, you know, take that, you know.
We didn't like him. We didn't like the rest of his team, his dad, everybody that used to travel with us in the summer. When it was game time, we wanted to kill him, you know, pretty much take his head off.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Jose feels the same way I felt about him, too.
Well, one of the craziest scenarios was my junior year, was the championship game against HML. I go in for a layup and they call a charge on me. As they were throwing me off the guy, here comes one of my teammates, Albert Porter, and punches one of the guys. It was an all-out brawl. I hope that's on film somewhere. People in the stands are fighting. People in the stands are coming down, trying to get in the fight.
Play. But M does not mean melee, and that's what they had. Players from both teams throwing punches. The fans got into it too. Several spectators escorted out of the gym.
Sure enough, that's the game that we beat Corciani. He fouls out, and we beat them to go to Lakeland for the state championship. So that's a wild time.
The Stingarees left today for Lakeland, which will host the finals and semifinals for all 4 classes. It's always so great to see that a high school education is no barrier to getting excited about a playoff game.
There was a lot of pressure. Miami High had last won the state championship, I believe it was 1956. In the semifinal, the alumni really wanted to have that victory. You could just feel it was palpable.
Center Cesar Portillo, inside and in your face. Portillo, as always, intimidating this afternoon. The Stingarees playing tough defense late in the first half. That's Jose Ramos with a steal. He'll lead the break and deliver the goods. Miami led 33-32 at halftime. Mainland tied the game and took control of the momentum when Michael Polite took off on the Showtime Express. Polite, stretch limo slam made it 45 apiece. But Miami answered with Doug Edwards. Instant 2, Stingarees back in control. Now, less than a minute to play. Miami hanging on to a 1-point lead with the ball. Portillo inside, yes, and he's fouled. Miami goes on to knock off Daytona Beach Mainland 72-64.
Feels great to win a game. We didn't perform to our level at the peak of our performance, but it's sure nice to win the game when we didn't do as well as we should do. Looking forward to Saturday night now.
Now we're faced with a task. Livingston Chapman, who was an All-American, Lakeland Kathleen, who last year got to the finals and they lost, and they had everybody back, their whole senior class. So it was a foregone conclusion. They're going to win it this year. And again, I said, nah, this is our year.
Before our finals in 1987, Diego Garcia and I met with the FHSA people and told them, listen, you have to do something. We have at least that we know of 4 busfuls on the way up here. And the FHSA said, well, there's nothing we can do. Well, you're going to have 4 buses full of crazy Cubans trying to get in to watch the game, so you better be ready for that. We pushed them so much that they allowed the game to be televised live, and they did not ever do that but in Miami so we could keep our fans quiet.
Hello everybody, Rick Hotlock along with Bob Kaufman live from the Lakeland Civic Center here in Lakeland, Florida. This is it. The high school basketball championship everybody has been waiting for. We have a jam-packed, overflow crowd of 7,300 people at the Lakeland Civic Center to watch this game. We're ready to go. The ball tossed up. Underneath the Portillo. Portillo moves from side to side, the one-handed. The basket by Doug Edwards is nothing good, and Miami High now taking a 10-6. Here comes Eric Grace over Douglas Edwards for 2. Ramos drives to the hoop and drops it through. Livingston Chapman goes past Jamel Martinez with 2 seconds. 1 second. Valdez at the buzzer, can't hit it, but Miami High Stingarees trying to bring home a state championship with a very young squad. Underneath, Portillo's got it. 3 guys around him. He goes up over him like they're not even there and drops it. Ramos behind the back, inside, jumper, in! That was a Bob Cousy on their feet. Taken up here. This is fabulous. Looking for someone to pass. He goes to Porter, and Porter drops it in. And the Miami High fans are going to try and count it down. Here comes Albert Milo with the layup, and he drops it in. Albert Milo gets on the board. 2 seconds, 1 second. It's history time for Miami High. Their 11th championship in the state tournament. Miami High, the 1987 champions, and the final score, 62-48. And the Stingarees are happy and proud, Bob.
It's like a dream come true. All your life you worked for something, you know, and here you are, state champions, number one. What can I say? I got one question. Who's number one?
Miami High.
Miami High. Now,
Miami High. Miami High has done it. It's been 31 years since the Miami High Stingarees have won a state basketball title.
I'd like to show you our state championship trophy.
When I walked out and just salute everybody went nuts. And it was like, I said, I know, my first thought that came to my mind is, this is how the Pope feels like when he comes out in the Vatican and salutes me. It was that sick, that crazy.
This was the scene today at the school as the team was honored. The mayor of Miami, Xavier Suarez, making presentations of keys to the city and plaques to the victorious players.
You know, I felt like the Beatles, man. Thousands of people wanting to see us.
It's the greatest day for Miami High in 31 years, and we all feel very proud of this school.
What makes it a winning school? Everybody's together. We're number one. That's all it is.
And it's a mixture. It's not one race, one culture, it's everybody working together.
That school spirit creates champions, says Garcia, and pride transcends all races and cultures. March 31st was proclaimed Miami Senior High Day.
And to close out the celebration, Athletic Director Tiger Nunez said it best.
This one is for you.
That team left a legacy for the others to follow. That was the first big-time team, the one that broke the mold.
We had 12 kids there who can compete. Any of our 12 players, when we won the state, they could have started any team in Dade County. They were not boys, they were men. They were not ponies, they were horses.
I think it started with that core group, Doug, Cesar Portillo, Jose Ramos, Jamel Martinez, to where you start seeing the gym get sold out, the student body and the community just going crazy.
Jamel Martinez. He's a sophomore. He's 15 years of age. Jamel Martinez.
Edwards with a power slam dunk on a great... Valdez with a bounce pass to Ramos. He drives left, pops it, and hits it.
Open underneath is Martinez for the dunk and a foul.
Oh, wow. That's the case at Miami High, where basketball tradition runs deep. Last year, the combination of Ramos and center Cesar Portillo led the Stingarees to a state title. Those two are back this season, along with 16-year-old sensation Douglas Edwards.
The coverage in the media was outstanding. I mean, we were first page in newspapers, and there was tremendous coverage. It was great. I mean, Miami basketball was great. The rivalries were great.
I think the biggest one was Carroll City. I think that's the one that attracted the most people whenever we played each other.
This is one time where we could say this is a game of the decade. Jackson puts him ahead game, and Charles almost had it knocked away. Bounce pass from Ramos to Edwards. Loses it. Mackay gets it 2 seconds, 1 second, and they do not get the shot off.
You believe that? What an ending. What an ending.
We played 3 times against Carroll City, and it was number 1 in state against number 2 in state.
Tonight, the inevitable matchup. Number 1 against number 2. Miami High, the defending state champs, 35-1. The Carroll City Chiefs, 34-3. There are only 3 losses, as you probably heard, to this Miami High Stingaree teams. I guess the heart and soul of this team. First, Jose Ramos.
Ramos is, like you say, the heart and soul of the team, and he has yet to have a good scoring game in this series so far.
Nowhere have we seen larger crowds than in high school basketball.
I remember the Floridians playing their championship games, and here in the playoffs, they opened up both to the end-court bleachers, but as you can see, it was never this filled. So Dade County will be well represented in the Southeastern Conference in 88-89.
Long pass up to Valdez. He dishes up. Great pass to Edwards for the slam.
We are at Miami-Dade North. We're leading Carroll City by 20 at halftime. And as Shakey and I are walking out of the locker room at halftime, he goes, "I hope we can hang on." I go, "Shakey, don't give me that BS. You got to be kidding. We're up 20. He goes, "Tiger, they're already in Lakeland. I don't know if I can mentally keep them here."
You know, not that everyone thought we were going to win. Everyone knew we were going to win, and we were going to be going up to Lakeland again and celebrate a state championship.
Carroll City will get the ball to start quarter number 3. The season has come down to 2 teams and 16 minutes of basketball to see who goes to Lakeland. Inside, Buckner hits it. 2-point basket and tied up. It'll be the first time since about 4-4 that we were tied.
We're going to find out if it's live or memorized.
It's Mackay. Baby. We're starting new. 1:25 on the clock.
Up and in. The things that we need to do. Now, if you just settle down and execute, that word is execute, okay?
The mark of a good coach is there are times to scream, there are times not to scream. His team is a little rattled. He did not scream. There'd be no sense in just going crazy on your players now. They feel bad enough as it is.
Ramos loses the ball. Let's see who the foul is on. 84 seconds left in this basketball game. The season will end for somebody while the victor goes on to the state basketball tournament in Lakeland. Faulkner will inbound it.
I fouled out, and we were up by maybe 2. And it went downhill from there, brother.
Just fouled out. And Shakey is hot with 52 seconds left in this basketball game.
I don't think he knows.
Valdez dishes off Edwards, and there's a foul with 3 seconds on the clock.
I'll tell you what the call was. It's on Benny for charging.
Corey Jackson, 13 points. No 1 point was more important than the one he just hit. 66, 64, 2 seconds, 1 second. Carroll City has done it.
All I can say is, our kids played their hearts out. We're 35-2, and, it's just too bad both of these teams couldn't meet in the state championship up in Lakeland. But, my hat's off to Carroll City. They're a fine basketball team, and they're very deserving of going, and they'll represent Dade County very well.
That hurt. They beat us the one that counted. On a call at the end, and everybody was just shocked.
The emotion and the people were in shock. The only ones that were celebrating was Carroll City. The majority of the people were Miami High fans, and there was like a dead silence, like shock. You were in shock that how can this happen, that we wouldn't go to state again in 1988.
I mean, I don't know if people realize the magnitude and what this meant to so many people in this community, because there's a lot of prominent players that played in this program. I always tell them, I said, time of reckoning will come.